Yeah, thank you for making some time for me. Really appreciate that.
Well, I'm so happy you found time for me.
So, The Last Redemption, let's talk about it. How did this movie find its way to you?
So I'd worked with John Reel, the director, and also my co-star who played Tyrion in it, on another project called The Obsessio,
Hmm.
and that was like a few years back. So he came to me and he said, "Hey, so I've been writing a script with you in mind, and I want you to read it. Kind of just see what you think, and I really, really want you in it, regardless, all the other." Stuff and all the other actors that I'm thinking of, like, I want you to play Diana. So I
Hmm.
read the script, and of course, I came back to him and I said, "Are you kidding me? Like, that's my dream. I want to play, be on horses and fight with swords, and all that is like medieval time. I mean, that's just anybody's probably dream come true." So of course, I was like, "Yeah, let me think about it. Yeah, no, I'm doing it." So regardless, yeah, of course, I'm doing it. Then he comes back to me and says, "Look, there's other actors that want to do it. We've got financiers. This business is like it's tough when it comes to like certain names." And he's like, "Everybody's pushing me for their girlfriends, and for financiers are pushing for names, and distributors want certain names, and blah blah blah. But I'm gonna fight for you to play the lead, and regardless what anybody says, like I want you in it." So luckily, he stuck to his guts and he picked me and he fought for me, and I was super excited. So over the course of like couple years, we went back and forth, flying to Italy, Sicily, where we shot the film, and it was just absolutely magnificent and beautiful, and the weather, and you saw the scenery in the movie. I mean, it's outstanding. So,
How awesome
like
to,
working in Italy, in Sicily, was like already like, oh my God, that's amazing.
yeah, awesome to have a creative partner like that that's got your back. I love hearing stories like that.
I owe him.
Yeah. So you were saying that then you had to cast other players. Were the big players on board when you came on board, like Kevin Sorbo and
Nobody was on board.
really?
No, he like John knew that he wanted somebody like Kevin Sorbo
Hmm.
and Angus McFarden, of course, and James Cosmo. He did talk to James Cosmo before that because he had done, I think, another movie with him, so he already knew that he wanted potentially him on board
Yeah.
of this project. But then he had also Neb Chupin on board already. So that's another co-star of mine who I had worked with on Obsessio. So of course Neb was also like, "Oh yeah, we should get Natalie. She would be great. I want to work with her. That'd be wonderful." So that was it. It was just me and Neb at a time, and he was casting all around us, and it was we were anxiously waiting to see who's going to play who.
Yeah.
And then last minute, I found out that, John decided to take on the role of Tyrion. And he was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to play your co-star." So I don't know if it was planned out or he just kind of like, exhausted all his,
Yep.
casting choices. And he was like, "You know what? I feel super connected to this part. And I think I'm going to do a great job. What do you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, who else who knows better about this part than you do? I mean,
Yeah.
you guys wrote the script with his sister." So I was like, "Right on, let's do it."
Yeah, it must be a
So
real
he was,
boost of confidence when you do get those name players attached, like, and you're going forward with a really strong cast.
yeah, no, it was great, and I loved Kevin Sorbo. Like, I did not know him beforehand, but
Yeah.
when I met him on set, he's just a nice person, like a great actor. Of course, I've watched him in
Yeah.
Hercules, like
Yeah.
over my years when I was growing up. So finally, like working with somebody like him on set was incredible. And of course, he was like, "Oh my God, you totally look like Xena, the Princess Warrior. You should totally play that part." And I was like, "Great, let's
Awesome.
call whoever owns the rights and just
That's right.
push for that." But he was like, "You totally remind me of her," and I was like, "Well, that's good, thank you."
Hopefully,
So no,
Sam Raimi
it
is watching
was.
this interview because.
I know, right? Sam Raimi, yeah, that's right. I'm like, "Hello, watched Last Redemption." I was told it kind of looked like her. So
Very
yeah,
cool. Very
but it
cool.
was wonderful to work, and James Cosmo was great. He was amazing. I mean, also like one of those, old actors that just know their craft, know their work, and no matter what they do, they're just totally incredible in it. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So going back, through your career, you've made some movies in a similar genre to this. What is it about this sort of the genre that attracts you? What draws you into these sort of roles?
That's easy. Strong women,
Yeah.
powerful women,
Yeah.
powerful, strong and determined. And, at the end, whether they succeed or not, it's just having that switch, that redemption, that, power of hope and love and, family and just the will to go on. It's like I love that. I always get attracted to women like that, and I'm like that in real life. Hopefully, like I'm, pursuing my career as aggressive as I am playing on screen. But I love the motivation behind those women, and I hope when people like when female actresses, young actresses, they watch movies like that. I hope they get motivated by characters like that. I hope they look at me and they're like, oh my God, so there's a way of, actually playing a female lead, strong character and having all those men around me
Hmm.
and just, and it can work. That formula still works. It's not like that's something that's not okay. Which actually going back to the days when, like Sigourney Weaver played in Alien. I mean,
Hmm.
she was a strong female character that basically, they the producers, the director kind of believed in her and they were like, no, we need this female action actress, like
Yep.
Mila Jovovich back in the days. I mean, everybody like Kate Beckinsale, had
Hmm.
her own franchise going. So I feel like it's possible, and that's what I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to those, strong, powerful characters for sure.
Absolutely. And it looks like you're having a lot of fun while you're doing it.
I do. I love that. I mean, not that I can't play weak. Well,
Yep.
I think there's also always like some weakness and some, there's confidence, and then there's also, of course, like this thing of like, am I doing the right thing? So
Yeah.
every character has that question, and I'm always trying to find the balance between, not just having always like, oh, I'm always right.
Yeah.
It's always like sometimes you're like, am I right? Am doing the right thing? So just having that arc, in a
Yeah.
character,
Yeah.
like I'm always looking for that. And I definitely enjoy obviously fighting with swords, as you can tell.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love all the action atmosphere. Like whenever I get to actually fight and ride horses and do sword fighting and all kinds of stuff. That to me also, like I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you...
physical adventure for me, like a challenge. The bigger challenger is, the more I'm interested and the more I'm like on board. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
How much do you have to step up your sort of your physical regime at home, to prepare for these roles?
Whenever I take on a part like that, I prepare. I take like a few months if I have the luxury to prepare. If
Hmm.
if the movie is not shooting soon, then I definitely start preparing as soon as possible. Because for me, it's not even so much like, oh, I have to know like the details of like what is the scene going to be about, like how do I fight and what's the choreography, as much as like I physically have to be prepared to
Hmm.
take on any challenge that comes my way.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes like it's not just about like the sword fighting itself, but also the atmosphere. Like in Sicily when we're fighting, there's a scene where we're literally like fighting under rain, and it's obviously like a rain machine, and he just bumped so much water on top of us. And now we're doing that. I think it was November, which was extremely cold
Hmm.
in Sicily. So we were like seeing, the frost everywhere, frostbite, and kind of just like snow already coming in. So, and here we are like totally drenched in water and trying to remember the choreography. So it's just like your body has to be physically ready for anything, besides like sometimes somebody like messes up and they don't remember the choreography, which I had in this movie.
Uh-huh.
It was an accident. Like one of our co-stars, I'm not going to name who it was, but we have a fight together. It was actually like last day, and he was diagnosed with COVID, and then
Oh,
so was I.
all
But we
right.
both were like, well, it's just me and you now. So we both have COVID. So that's it. Of course, we asked the crew, and the crew was like, let's finish it. Let's do it. It's the last day. We got to do it. And I think I got COVID from like, being obviously outside and was freezing. Like I was super cold. So I was like, let's do it. And I was better because I didn't have fever. Mine
Yep.
was like, I was kind of like, I was positive, but I
Yeah.
didn't have any kind of real like instincts. Real like things happening to my body, just like it was tired, fatigue. And I remember we were fighting, and basically my co-star by mistake hit me with a sword
Oh my God.
on the head. And I remember I had a split, and it would just started bleeding, and I no mirrors around. So I'm like, I probably split my head now and I don't even know it, but I just feel like the blood everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, but let's continue. Let's continue doing it. So let's continue. So of course it was an accident. Like he was like super tired, and it was the last day of filming. And of course, like, you get a little bit of injury,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
luckily I didn't need to get stitches, and it was fine. And my forehead it's fine.
You survived. You survived.
So,
I want to go back and
survived.
I want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
watch it again and keep that in mind when I'm watching the.
Try to find the
Yeah,
place where that actually
absolutely.
happens.
Yeah.
That happens in the movie, yes.
Yeah.
So
So in addition to being an actress, you produce as well, and you have your own production company. And I was wondering, how long have you been running that for? And do you have how many productions do you have on the go at any given time?
So I funded Seven Heaven Productions in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
and then in 2015 I funded Born to Burn Films. So I have two. I produce smaller budget movies and then bigger budget films.
Yeah.
Just depends what comes first, really. So I kind of just, kind of like any producer will have, a slew of films that we're trying to put together and we're seeing which one kind of goes first. But I've got at least like, 5, 6 films that we're developing and, trying to see what goes next. Because like the industry's changing a lot nowadays. So kind of have to listen to your audience and see what is it that they want, produce rather than what I want to do. I
Yeah.
can't just blindly go in and say, "Ooh, I love to do this romantic comedy." That does not sell that much. It's hard. Or like this romantic, drama with a lot of heart to it, which I love those kind of movies. But I guess we can't make those anymore. We got to have some sort of other creepy, weird, I don't know, dumb twist in it, which,
Yep.
kind of like something that stands out nowadays. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's what the audience wants, something that hasn't been done before, and it's really, really hard to find.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, I've got projects that I'm,
Yeah.
pushing for, and hopefully one of them will strike soon. I'm
You actually
really,
you produced a movie that a friend of our podcast directed. Richard Hughes did The Enforcer.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did this. Yeah, with Richard, we were in Greece together. That was fun, and I enjoyed working with Antonio Banderas, who I had met him on Expendables 3, and I've been friends with him ever since. He's an amazing actor.
Well,
I can't say.
that's amazing. Was it? I think he was telling me at the time that you were making The Enforcer that the crew for Expendables 4 was in the same hotel or something like that. It was a really weird crossover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, well, it was almost. Well, no, it was the crew from Expendables 4 that we had used, but we had
Right.
shot in Greece at a time in Thessaloniki, and Expendables 4, I believe, was shot in partially in Greece and partially in Bulgaria.
Gotcha.
So I know we used the same crew, but I don't know how much they were like working on both films at a
Yeah.
time. But I do know that they, of course, Antonio got approached and they were like, "Would you like to be in the fourth one?" Because he was in the third one. He was like, "Nah, I'm good."
I'm done. I'm done.
So unfortunately, yeah, he didn't come back. His son is in the fourth one, but I got to work with him and he was just incredible.
Cool. He was expended by that time.
He was expendable. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
was I, because I was in Expendables 3. I
Yeah.
played Mel Gibson's wife. So we're both like, we're good, thanks.
No complaints there if you're Mel Gibson's wife, I tell you. That's awesome.
Yep.
Has-
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know why they hired me.
Awesome stuff. Has producing changed the way you approach acting in any way now that you sort of got a real good idea of what goes on behind the scenes?
Oh, definitely. And I can't get rid of it. Sometimes I wish I didn't know the things I know. Sometimes I wish I was just an actress who was just sitting there. I go, okay, I'm just going to do this. Oh, you want me to wait? Okay, I'll wait. Now it's like I understand all the logistics and all the things that goes on behind the camera, and I can kind of understand the crew and the positions of each, crew member and what they're doing. And the things that I don't like the most is the things when I see something is wrong, that I'm like, oh, they shouldn't have done that. Oh, should I say that? No, I shouldn't say that because I'm an actor. No, I should just sit here and just say nothing. So, but I value a lot each position way more right now. I totally understand how much they add to, filmmaking, and it's totally a team effort. It's not just a producer who's putting things together. Well, producer picks each person, but then afterwards, it's definitely 100% from this crew member, like giving their all. And then at the end, what matters is what's on screen. So, but each position, of course, once we're on set, matters so much more than when I used to just act. I was like, well, I'm an actress, like I'm like the biggest puzzle of this film, but not really. No, it's only a puzzle because everything else matters so much more too. Like the director, of course, the DP, the light, I mean, everything matters. And then at the end, it's like the editor,
Yeah.
like what is it that we're gonna edit and what's actually going to make the movie and what is going to be on screen, So I
Awesome.
definitely have learned a lot, and it helps me and sometimes it kind of works against me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then I kind of have to, I almost know too much, and that's when you can't get rid of it. But
Speaking
that's
of,
okay. Nowadays, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to do it all. So
for sure. And speaking of that, like in picking up lessons along the way, I'm wondering how much you learnt from like your early in your career working with someone like Uwe Boll, who I think is one of the more underappreciated directors out there. Like he's got a reputation which I think is, I guess some people would say is fair, but I think he's undervalued, to be honest.
my
Working with
God,
him,
that's funny you had mentioned him. I literally just spoke to him like last week,
I
I
love
think,
him.
because he totally gave me my start as an actor. That's funny. And I helped him out. Like my first producing really was when, he had shot In the Name of the King 2, and he asked me, "Hey, can you help me get Dolph Lundgren?" And I just met Dolph.
Hmm.
I was at a time in Moscow. He was with his manager, and I said, "Hey, you should work with this guy. He's great." And we were all like in Kazakhstan, which was like a random film festival, and it turned out great. Like he said, "Yeah, I'm going to do it," and I was like, "Oh, I just put together something. Wow, that's cool." But right now, I know Uber had told me, like he said, "Well, congrats on all that you're doing," and he's actually directing Army Hammer right now,
I
and he
know.
said,
I'm so thrilled
which
that he's back.
I know.
Both
So
of them.
he called me. He's like, "Look, I'm doing this movie. I'm working with Army." And I was like, "That's great. That's bold. That's why you're over ball."
Yeah,
So
that's right.
you're like, "Why not? Of course you're gonna make a movie, and it's a great story. So hopefully the movie, turns out to be good."
I hope so
I
too.
love working with him. I think he's a very, very, he's extremely dedicated and super fast. And if he says he wants to do it, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the consequences. It doesn't matter how he's going to do it. Doesn't matter the outcome or the final version of the movie. He wants to do something. He's going to do it. And he's going to say, "I did it my way."
Uh huh.
And I'll give it damn. So,
Absolutely. Fuck the
you
critics.
got
I'll
to
take you
respect
on. I'll
that.
take you on.
The critics hate him
I
and he
know.
does not care. You should
I
meet
don't.
that guy. He literally does not care. He's like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever."
I would love to have a coffee with Uwe Boll. That would be like a dream come true for me.
He's very smart. He's a doctor. He's a
I
doctor of the
know.
ball. So
Amazing.
that has to say a lot. The person obviously is not dumb. He's very, very passionate about filmmaking. Extremely passionate.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Before I let you run, I just want to go right back to your childhood. I'm wondering if there was a movie when you were a kid that really lit the fire and made you want to become an actress.
There were a few movies, but one that I remember very well. As a child, I think it was King Kong. I loved King
Wow.
Kong. Yes, with Jeff Bridges.
Hmm.
And Jessica Lange. I love that movie. I
Yeah.
still love that movie. Like I love Jessica Lange in that, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I just love the big monkey, and it just emotional ending and just the love story. Like it had it all, and I was like, "Oh my God, I would die to be in a movie like that." I mean, there were like other films as well, but
Yeah.
one of those ones that really changed my perspective and just wanted me to be on screen like that and just portray something like as important as those characters. So
That's an amazing answer. I like it's a real honest answer. Like, most people go for some, pretentious kind of, arts film, from whatever. But I can tell they're never telling the truth. They're just trying to sound smart. And what you've
no,
said is actually
I have
intelligence.
another one which I was like, if I mention that name, you're gonna think I'm crazy
Now,
again. So
now
I
you
was
got
like,
to.
let's go for a little less crazy.
What's the
But
crazy
I
one?
definitely Gone with the Wind.
That's perfect.
See? That's the truth. Like my mom was watching it and I was a kid and I saw it and I was like, I want to be Vivian Lee. Like I just adore her as an actor and I think she was amazing and I just loved that movie.
Mhm.
I mean, nowadays people are just have all kinds of like bad and good things to say about it. I don't know. I can't remember. I was a kid. I don't judge, what I see. I was pure. I looked at it and I said, I love it. I want to be
Yep.
on screen. That's
Also,
it.
it's
That's
a
all.
it's a time frame. Like it's a movie caught in time. Like you have to have the context of when it was made and what social norms were like.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Back in the days, making a movie like that, well, that was pretty impressive.
And made
Like, you
back
know
to back
what?
with
That was
Wizard of Oz.
insane.
Like, incredible.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Exactly. That's another one. Yeah. So all those movies, like I just, again, I can't go back and judge them now and say, oh no, now let me review this movie and actually evaluate it. I'm just saying from my heart, like what I saw on screen, and it just moved me. And I was like, I
Yep.
want to make a movie. Like I want to make a big, huge budget film where a character like that makes sense. And it has so much like love and again, care, and just moves the audience. That's
Totally.
the end. That's what matters. We want to make movies where we can move the audience and they can come out and just keep talking about your film for many years.
Uh-huh.
You know, it becomes part of history.
Yep, for sure. All right, final question before I let you go. What's your comfort movie? So when you're in between shoots or you're just in your downtime, what's the movie you just put on just to relax to, and it's always a winner?
Okay, another crazy answer. Total opposite of what I experienced when I was a child. It's Alien and Aliens.
Yes.
I love, like, I'm a huge sci-fi fan, and horror movies like basically is like it's the number one for me for some reason. That those are the movies where I put on any horror movie, honestly, and I don't like, there's nothing that makes me nervous, and I don't have to think, and just it takes my concentration 100%, and I'm just watching the movie and there's nothing else matters. Like every other movie, like if I start like if it's an emotional movie, I cry, then I'm like, oh, I don't like that. That's making me feel something. So I literally, like, if I just want to completely turn myself off, I have to watch a horror movie. And it's like Alien and Aliens are probably like my number one go movie.
Amazing. I could totally see you in an Alien film. Kicking ass.
That would be my dream. I'd love that.
Yep.
I'd love that.
Yep.
So
Producers,
hopefully
if you're
next
watching.
one, yes. There you go. Well, I'm gonna have to find the rights and do it myself. No,
Yeah, that's right. That's
I
right.
don't. That would take. Yeah, that would be complicated. But yeah, that would be my dream movie. Yes.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for making the time to chat with me. I hope everybody goes out and checks out The Last Redemption, because it is now available on physical media in Australia as well as digital. So, yeah, thanks for the time, and I can't wait for what you do next.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Someone once said, we become who we choose.
Roland, choose your words carefully.
I have a job for you and your men.
And what sort of job are we talking about here?
You must kill King Pharaoh.
Why would we risk so much?
Once I'm king, I can guarantee that the Law Brea will never be breathing down your necks again.
Sounds like a trap.
Roland, you are a vile traitor. All of you still have time to choose. Lily, honey, go back to your room.
Now we have to kill the girl too.
We don't kill children. We didn't kill the king, and we're trying to protect his daughter from those who want her dead.
They'll still get me what you owe.
Not as long as that girl's still alive.
This is your last warning! Surrender or die!
There comes a time in our life. Sometimes the right choice carries too much weight. And I have to accept it. I would like to tell you that this is the story of a group of heroes. But that's not true.